What's up, guys? Justin here with the SketchUpEssentials.com. So in today's video, we're going to check out 10 tips for creating plans in layout. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. All right, so these are tips that are going to make plans in layout a lot easier. So first thing, we control the visibility for our viewports using scenes. So a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll try to take a model like this one over into layout, and then they'll try to create their own view. So they might go into the view and do a top-down view or something like this and create their own view for layout. That's not the way you should be going about this. And so what we do is we control our views and create our views that are going to be used in layout inside of SketchUp using scenes. So in this case, for example, I have a plan view scene right here. And so this is how I'm generating my plan view, and I've created it inside of SketchUp using the view animation add scene function. Well, this is now a scene with a saved camera view and a saved set of attributes like this. Well, what I can do then is I can go into layout and I can reference that view by right-clicking on this, going to scenes, and we're going to look for our plan black and white view right here. Now, notice how this has been reset. So I'm just going to relink this back to my model. But notice how that scene has been created inside of SketchUp instead of in layout. That gives us a lot more control, because if you try to like double click into this and move things around in layout, it just gets really problematic really fast. So I highly recommend that you create the scenes for your viewports in SketchUp rather than trying to custom create a view in layout and get things to align and all of that other stuff. So just a quick reminder that the SketchUp Essentials course is on sale with lifetime access through the end of the week. So if you are looking for some additional help, some support with learning SketchUp, as well as some start to finish training, it's going to teach you not only modeling skills, but also skills for creating documents in layout and giving you deep dives into other topics as well. Make sure you check that out. And so if you are looking to finally take your SketchUp modeling to the next level, not only with great training, but also with lifetime support, that's going to be available through Friday at 11:59 p.m. And while we're talking about this, we don't just drive our camera location using our scenes in SketchUp. We also use the styles in order to drive the way something is going to look. So if you want a black and white plan, you're going to use a black and white style inside of SketchUp, right? So I've applied this right here, but you can also apply other styles, right? So say that I want this to be a color plan. What I can do is I can apply a style with color right here. And so that gives me the ability to control things like my colors. It allows me to control things like my line weights, right? So I can bring my profiles down and I can bring my section line widths down like this. So depending on what you want to do, you use the styles in order to set the way this is going to look. So if you want a color plan, you drive it with a style in SketchUp and you create a viewport. So in this case, I've already got one set up, but I've got a plan view color right here that I use for my color plans, and I can just reference that inside of layout. So we drive not only camera location, but we also drive styles using scenes in SketchUp, not in layout. Okay, so next up inside of layout, say that you get a viewport that comes over that isn't fully showing everything inside of your scene. And usually what we're going to do is we're going to bring a viewport in, we're going to set a scale, right? So in this case, we might set it to 3/4 of an inch, or we might want it to be a little bit smaller. We might set it to a 1/2 inch like this. And so a lot of the time what you end up wanting to do is you want to kind of like click and drag this in order to show a little bit more. But notice how right now, if I click and drag this in order to try to resize the viewport, it's actually affecting the scale of my model or my viewport in here, which is not what I want. So what we do is we set our scale. And so say we wanted to set this to 3/4 of an inch right here. Well, what we want to do is we want to make sure the box for preserve scale is checked before we try to resize a viewport. So now if I click and drag this, notice what this is going to do is it's going to enlarge the size of the viewport in my scene without you actually having to rescale and everything like that. Now this is a little bit big, so we would probably go to the next scale down, which is a 1/2 inch right here. But because preserve scale is checked, it's not going to resize my viewport. It's just going to affect, or it's not going to resize the image of the model in my viewport. You're literally just resizing this viewport box inside of the space. So anytime you need to adjust a viewport to see more, make sure you check the box for preserve scale before you do that. And so another one of the more tricky things that you can do in layout, but it's going to significantly improve your performance, is you can actually stack viewports together. Now, why would you want to do this? The reason you'd want to do this is because if I zoom in on this model right now and I look at it, right, I've got a whole bunch of different edges in here, but they're not super clear, right? The reason for that is because this viewport is currently set with a raster render style. So raster render style means it's going to render really fast, but your lines aren't smooth. Now you have options in here to do a vector render style or a hybrid render style. What those will do is those will come in here and those will render this with smoother lines, but they're super, super slow. And one of the reasons people have performance issues in layout is because they don't understand how this works, right? So what we do instead is instead of taking this whole thing and just switching over to a hybrid render style, which is going to render all of these edges really smooth, I don't need my bed to be really smooth, but I do need my walls to be really smooth. And so what we can do is we can create two different viewports in SketchUp. So for example, I have a line work viewport, which is the lines that that's the lines from the model that are going to actually make up the line work itself. But then if I look at this, I also have the other things in here like my doors and windows or my furnishings on their own layers right here toggled on. So in this case, I've got my line work and I've got my furnishings right here. Well, what I can do is I can create two viewports and stack them together. So if I go over into layout, what I want to create a line work layer, right? Line work right here. And I'm also going to create a raster viewport. And so the raster viewport is going to go beneath the line work. And that's going to actually be the scene that is the plan furnishings color. Well, notice how that doesn't have the walls in here. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this viewport and I'm going to paste it to my line work layer. So we'll do an edit, paste to current layer right here. And then what I can do is I can right click on that and I can set that to be my line work layer right here. And we want to make sure that we check the box up above or uncheck the box for background. Well, now what we've done is we've created one layer that's stacked on top of the other layer. Well, if I take this line work layer and I set it to a hybrid or a vector right here, so we're going to click on OK. Notice how now I have very smooth lines for things like my doors and everything that was on that line work layer, but everything else is raster rendered, meaning I'm not coming in here and trying to render smooth lines for a soap dispenser or something like that and really slow my model down. And notice how you can kind of see what's going on here by toggling the different scenes off or the layers off. So if I toggle this off, you can see how, okay, these walls are on a different layer than the raster viewport down below. Now, while we're talking about this, the other thing that I find extremely helpful is when you're not working on a layer in layout, you should lock it. And so what that means is if I click in here right now and I'm trying to edit my line work layer, if I click in here, I could very easily accidentally pick up that raster layer down below, which is not what I want. Well, remember that that viewport is on. I want to make sure that's on the raster layer. But now if we look at this and see that it's on raster, well, I can lock this. Well, as soon as I lock it, I can't edit anything that's on that viewport, right? So I can't accidentally pick this up and move it around, which is a real problem in layout because it's real easy to like accidentally select a thing and then kind of like drag it out of the way a little bit and misalign everything. So what I do is any layer that I'm not working with, I lock. So now I can't accidentally move my walls around inside of this space because they're locked. And then if I ever want to edit it, I can just unlock it, get in here, make the edits that I want, and then relock it. So locking layers is really important in layout. Okay, so next up is a tip for creating the things that are going to repeat across different pages in your layout view. So this is driven by your layers. And so depending on what layer an object is on, you can either set where it shows up on one page or you can set where it shows up on every page. And so like, for example, notice how I have two pages in layout right now, right? I have a first page and a second page. The first one has this kind of like title block location. I want that to repeat across every page. And so a lot of people think what you do is you duplicate this over and over again. And then when you duplicate it, it just has this geometry in here. That's great as long as you don't have to make any significant changes. But what you can do instead is you can set this up where this geometry is set up on a layer that repeats on every page. So there is an on every page layer that usually comes with a new layout file, but I'm going to show you how to create your own. So in this case, for example, we would click on the plus button. We would add a layer for title block shapes right here. And I'm just going to take this geometry that I've drawn in layout. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to move it to the title block shapes layer right here. That still hasn't done anything for our other pages, right? So if I do like a bunch of different pages, that still doesn't show up on here. But if you go over here on the right hand side and click on this little page right here, that's going to change this so that this is an on every page layer. Now, anything that is on this layer is going to get repeated across multiple different pages right here. So now I had to create this once, but now it's going to show up on every page I ever create because this is on an on every page layer right here. So this is how you do your title block information. And while we're here, let's talk about auto text for a second, because auto text is something that can save you a lot of time as well. So let's say that we were to create a plan set right here, and we're going to add a project name. So in this case, and notice how this is showing up as red, by the way. Anything that shows up as red when you select it means that it's on an on every page layer. Well, in this case, I'm going to create a separate one for title information right here. And we can go ahead and set that to be on every page as well. But notice how when I have this selected, it becomes the current layer. Well, now anything I create is going to be on this title information layer. Well, now if I click in here and I add some text, and we're just going to call this whatever, right? The project name. So we'll call it sample kitchen. We can go ahead and make that a little bit smaller with our text style right here. And that is going to repeat across the different pages. But an easier way to do this is instead you can set things that you can reference across different locations in your auto text. So you can actually find that, and they actually move this in Layout 2026. So you actually want to go to Window, Document Setup, but notice how there's an option in here for auto text. And so these are basically values that you set so that they can be referenced across your model. Well, in this case, I'm going to click on plus and I'm going to create a custom text. Well, what you can do is you can name this. So in this case, we're going to call this project title, and then you can set a value. So in this case, we'll set the value down here. So it's going to be Evan's Kitchen Project, whatever your project name is. And then once you're done, if you click off of here, notice how it populates the auto text right here. Well, now, anytime that I do this, right, we're just going to call this, or we're going to put a bracket and then the name of this. So project title, and then we'll click off. Notice what that's going to do is that's going to reference that auto text inside of your scene right here. So now you can adjust this across every project. Now this might not seem like a big deal because, well, why wouldn't I just type this in manually? Well, the thing is when you create a template file, you're going to use it for multiple different projects, which is why you want this to reference back to your document setup and the auto text rather than something you have to create every single time. That way, for every project, you can just use a template. You can add the project information or whatever you want using auto text, and you're good to go. And so another thing that can be extremely helpful for you is to create scrapbooks. And so scrapbooks are basically things that are set up inside of Layout that you can reuse over and over again. You've probably used this for things like your project information, right? If we go into our title blocks, for example, notice how there's different options for different title blocks in here. This is basically just us saving layout elements that we can reuse. They actually get saved in a different layout file. So if you click on this, it just opens up a layout file. And these are just elements that we've created. Well, basically what these are is these are things that you can drag quickly into your model right here. And we wouldn't want to drag this on an on every page layer. So we'll take this and we'll just call this annotation. And we'll put this on the annotation layer so that it's not repeating. But notice how instead of me having to recreate this entire thing right here, I can just use a scrapbook in order to do this. And so if we created our own scrapbook, what that would look like is we would just do a new file. So just be a new layout file. And in this case, I'll just do an A3 portrait right here. But say that we wanted some text. So we would do text information. We could draw a line under it like this, and then say that we wanted a shape with a letter in it. A1 right here. Whoops. We want to make sure that we drag this over so that it actually shows up right here. But what we could do is we could save this file as a layout scrapbook file. And before I do that, I would take this and I would group it, right? Because basically when you bring this in, and this box is too big, so we'll make it a little bit smaller. But when we bring this in, when we click and drag it, it just brings in whatever's in the group of that object inside of the layout file. Well, in this case, we would just take this whole thing, we'd make it a group, and then we'd just do a file, save as scrapbook. And we'll just call this test scrapbook. So you can see it. Well, now that test scrapbook is going to show up over here, and this is an item that you can bring into your model. So once you pre-create this object right here, and you can do this with a bunch of fonts or line weights or whatever you want, you can drag those into your SketchUp model or your layout file, and it's going to save a ton of time. And so another function I use a lot is the nudge function. So within layout, you do have the ability to select an object, and so you can activate the move tool by tapping M and single clicking and moving your mouse. But sometimes you just want to move something over just a little bit, and you don't need to be like ultra precise with it. Well, you can actually use the arrow keys on your keyboard in order to move things around inside of this 3D space. So you can nudge them. And so one of the things that's really helpful for me is if you hold down the shift key on your keyboard and then nudge, it's going to move it in bigger increments, like this. So notice how what I can do is I can use the shift key and the left, right, and up arrow keys in order to nudge objects around. And then I can do fine adjustment by letting up on the shift key, just like this. So if you do want to nudge objects around, just use the left, right, up, and down arrow keys in order to do that. And then one other thing that bothers me when creating things in layout is a lot of the time your images can look like they don't really have any depth, right? So if I look at this right now, for example, it feels very flat. And so one of the things you can do that doesn't really take a whole lot of effort or change is you can toggle on either ambient occlusion or shadows. In this case, I'm going to go with ambient occlusion just to show you what that does. Ambient occlusion is a setting in your styles. If you go to your styles, edit, and you want to go to the face settings, there's an option for ambient occlusion. Well, notice what ambient occlusion does is it adds a darker area in your model, right? So, and I want to make sure that I save this style with that like this, but you can adjust both the distance as well as the intensity. And so what it'll do is it'll add a little bit of shade wherever there's a crevice in your model. Well, notice how that gives you some depth in things like your sinks and other things like that. So just by toggling that ambient occlusion on, you can give a little bit of depth to your scenes where you otherwise couldn't. Toggling that on can completely change the look of your entire model. So now I would just update this. I would save my changes and then go back into layout right here. And we'll just update our reference. And notice how that adds a little bit of depth to our scene. Now you can also play around with shadows and styles and fog as well, but this is a really quick, from a bang for your buck standpoint, this is a really quick way in order to add that depth. All right, so that's where I'm going to end this video. Leave a comment below. Let me know if there's any tips that I left out. I just love having that conversation with you guys. If you do want some additional help, remember that the SketchUp Essentials course is available for lifetime access through the end of the week this week. You can check that out at thesketchupessentials.com/course. That's a great way to get support for life working with SketchUp. But as always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.